Today on What's Next.
Diversity builds resilience.
Just to give someone the ability to pass down knowledge and to really listen to them, I think is so powerful.
At the very foundation of a community, it's all about supporting each other.
Hello and welcome back to What's Next. This is the show that helps you realize that there's still a lot of life left to live and a whole lot of help to offer. We each have a contribution to make, and if you're not sure what yours is, if you're looking for your What's Next, a good place to start is by thinking about what your passion is, because passion fuels purpose, and purpose gives life meaning. And joining me today is a group of passionate, purpose-driven people, Amy Sweezy, Bill Schaefer, and Cecily Wilson. And Cess, I have to start with you because, I mean, you wrote the book about passion and purpose, literally, the P book. So what are you doing these days?
Purposely, I am taking back my time and enjoying the moment. I think we talked about this earlier, about just being in the moment at those times. We're always so busy going here, doing this, doing something, but not actually staying in the moment. There's so much value in that, just being in the moment and just listen. You can hear the birds. Wow. I didn't know they were there.
All right, let's talk about a guy by the name of John Rivers, because he's really a great example of a purpose-driven man leading a mission-driven business. He's the guy behind the Four Rivers Barbecue brand, which now boasts about 14 locations across Florida and still growing. And when the pandemic shut his restaurants down, Rivers didn't sit around. His Four Roots Foundation began rescuing produce from farmers' fields all across the state and then preparing and serving nearly 2 million meals to Florida families in need. And now his foundation is building a one-of-a-kind teaching farm right in the heart of Orlando that's designed to inspire revolutionary change in Florida's food system through education on sustainable farming, agriculture technology, and research in culinary medicine. We talked with Rivers about his mission, his message, and his responsibility to give back while moving forward.
It's no longer going to schools. It's no longer the science center. We've got to bring parents. We've got to bring the community in and teach them and educate them and inspire them about the importance of where their food comes from and the food that they're putting in their body. And at the very foundation of a community, it's all about supporting each other. You know, when we are fortunate and we're able to grow a business or able to bring whatever resources or fortune into our lives, you know, we make a choice. You're going to hang up your hat and turn it off and go away? You know, are you going to use it all on you? Or are you going to take all those things that you learn in your life, the ups and the downs, and what if you did something with that? You know, what if you turned around and what if you made an impact? And what if that was the purpose of you getting that fortune to begin with? And if you chose not to do anything with it, think of how many people who were supposed to be helped never actually got that from you. And it's not always money. You know, some of the greatest lessons that I've learned in my life is the impact you can make in people's lives just by your words, just by your encouragement that you give them or the time that you pour into them. And that opportunity happens not only every day, but for every single person that you meet. I've had a challenge that I write down and I keep it in front of me often. Everybody that I meet today, can I add to their life? Can I lift their spirits in one way or another? It doesn't mean be disingenuous, but be sincere and truly compassionate for them, because we never know what people are going through.
Wow, who among us has not enjoyed a meal at Four Rivers? And when you meet the man, guys, the meal tastes even better. Amy, I know you love you some Four Rivers barbecue, but let's put the brisket burnt ends down for now and talk about the takeaway. What do you think?
I loved when John said, you know, ask yourself, how can I add to their life? I think it is so easy for us as a society to just like immediately start blaming people, calling each other names. I mean, go to Twitter, look at any tweet and look at the comments under it. And it's all just negative, nasty, putting people down. And instead, how can we turn things around? How can we find a need and then help that person and add to their life instead of taking away?
Yeah, and it's not just in our personal lives either, right, Amy? I think we spend so much time at work, a majority of our lives at work. It's important to understand that what we do when we're working, don't just do the minimum, add a little something. In fact, take what you do and put a little sauce on it so it's so much better for somebody else.
Especially if it's Four Rivers sauce.
Exactly. I love John. He inspired me so much to create my nonprofit. His level of giving and the way that he makes others feel, and just knowing that every single last one of us can make a difference in someone's life, because as he said, you never really know what someone is going through, and if you can just make that person's life better because they connected with you, that's the secret sauce. That's what he puts in that barbecue sauce. I'm just telling you. That's it.
And talk about an audacious project. Transforming the entire food industry is so overwhelming, so ambitious that very few people would even attempt it. But Rivers told me, and I quote now, "If your dream doesn't require a miracle, you're not dreaming big enough." I love that.
I love that.
It's really, as we call it, family on demand. It's everything I did for my grandfather, and using both technology and people to take it to the masses.
Welcome back to What's Next, and today is a pretty interesting program, taking a closer look at how important it is to have a sense of purpose, not just as individuals, but companies, businesses need to be making a difference, offering us ways to live better lives. And they are out there, but we don't always hear about them. Andrew Parker started one, all because of his grandfather. And as his grandfather got older, what happened was he started becoming more isolated, more lonely. And Parker thought, this is a problem I think I can solve. So he reached out to connect younger people looking to make a difference with older people looking for human interaction. And just like that, a business was born.
So Papa, the name of the company, is a platform that connects older adults and families to what we call pals, Papa Pals. And they provide companionship, assistance, and transportation. So they'll drive you or your older family member to the doctor. They'll help you around the house. They'll teach you how to use technology or engage you with other services offered by your health plan. And they'll reduce loneliness and isolation and other negative issues affected by social determinants of health. And it's really, as we call it, family on demand. It's everything I did for my grandfather, and using both technology and people to take it to the masses.
And I think we all go through this too as we're growing up. We all have kind of a misconception of that older, elderly looking person that's over in the corner. We think that they're probably pretty uninteresting, maybe stuck in their ways. But what happens? What have you heard from some of the people that have worked as pals about what they've learned about life or what they've gained that maybe they didn't realize?
I mean, we're doing so many visits, and the stories are seriously amazing. We had an older adult that was on Ronald Reagan's campaign trail. We had one of the first surfers ever. We had pals that went to weddings with senior members because the seniors didn't want to negatively impact the family's, experience. And so they kind of went as, friendly dates, or pals, I guess, for that matter. We've had early paparazzi. We have early surfers. We had cyclists. We had people that built buildings. We had Disney animatronic designers. We had people that invented law. We had judges. I mean, we have so many different type of people that, you would be amazed. And then when you have a pal that comes in that they're on the earlier side of their career, the amount that they learn from the members is super amazing. I mean, just to give someone the ability to pass down knowledge and to really listen to them, I think is so powerful. And we're proud to be able to do that.
Papa, a business whose product is making life better, both for the pals who offer their services and for those who really need it. There's no way these days that anybody should suffer from loneliness, and Papa is a difference maker, a game changer, a business with a purpose. So let's open this up a little bit and bring everybody into this. Amy, I couldn't help but think about all of the adults starting out in their career these days who are sort of struggling to find that purpose. Papa and other for-purpose organizations can teach so much about life.
Yeah, there's always that saying about how we learn when we make our own mistakes and we have to go through it ourselves. But wouldn't it be so cool if we didn't actually have to make the mistakes because we could learn from somebody else's mistakes? I feel like that would be great. And what better way to learn from people who've already been through it than to just hear about their experiences, and perhaps we could avoid making some of the same mistakes.
And that's why I love going to nursing homes, because there's so much wealth of knowledge and superstars that you're not even aware of sitting right there, because they sometimes feel as though their life is over. But again, all of that life experience and information and amazing stories that come with just sitting down. It's like, hey, what's happening? Tell me about your life. And really, you may be surprised at what comes out of their mouths.
You know, God bless the good nursing homes out there, but Papa's real value is that it helps older adults remain independent and continue living in their own homes. It's a great example of doing good while doing well. And folks, you're looking at 4 entrepreneurs right here. And guys, I have to tell you that when Andrew founded his company in 2017, it was worth very little. Since then, it's raised over $240 million. It has a current valuation of $1.5 billion, which certainly underscores the need for social connection and the value that it brings to the 10,000 of us that are now turning 70 each and every day.
What's next? We're going to the garden. I'm going to tell you why diversity is just as important in the garden as it is in life.
So welcome back to What's Next. Today we're talking about how businesses can make a positive impact in their communities. Now, I happen to think that applies to nonprofit organizations as well. But maybe that's an obvious idea, because nonprofits focus on giving, helping those in need, but even they can step it up a notch. Recently, a friend invited me to volunteer with her at an incredible place called the Edible Education Experience. It was founded by 2 men, chef instructor Kevin Fonzo, who operated this successful K restaurant for 17 years, and garden educator Brad Jones. The 2 met when Brad started a garden at his daughter's school and invited Kevin to participate. Well, they bonded over the opportunity of taking kids from the classroom to the garden to learn about math and science. With the support of the Emerald Lagasse Foundation, the garden is now 3,000 square feet with a state-of-the-art teaching kitchen, and all with the mission of educating and empowering both kids and adults to deepen their relationship with food. Now, we were there for a recent kids camp, and Brad explained how they use the principles of how a garden grows in everything they do, including how they interact with groups.
Nature really loves diversity. But this is not all cabbages or all carrots. It's this really orchestrated mix of life. And I think that our approach to how we grow plants is also really important to how we approach our community. That we have a responsibility to orchestrate who is coming into the classroom, especially as a nonprofit. I'm not just here to make a buck. I'm here to create an experience. I can't make people learn. I can only create an environment where they can. I can't make these plants grow, but I can create an environment where they will grow, where they're allowed to grow. And that environment must include diversity. I don't want just one kind of adult or just one kind of kid to be in that classroom. Diversity builds resilience. If I can bring those groups of kids together and have a kid look at another kid and think, wow, your experience is very different than mine. You don't see this the way that I do at all. That challenge, that friction, that little bit of tension, it is like with everything else. It makes it difficult, but it makes it exciting. And I think at the end of the day, if I can learn to empathize with a carrot and think, what does that carrot need to be really successful? Then I'm a better gardener. And if I can look at a kid and think, wow, what is that kid? Maybe that kid needs that kid. if I can orchestrate that and really be empathetic to what those kids need from that experience, that makes me a better adult, honestly. And so I think that's something that I think we take our responsibility for orchestrating those groups that come here very seriously.
100%. I love the way that he used the analogy. Diversity definitely builds resilience and enriches our experiences so much more. So give me all of the plants and all of the color. Bring it on, bring it on. So what do you guys think? What's your takeaway?
Yeah, the metaphor is fantastic, isn't it? I mean, we're a sum total of our experiences, if nothing else. And if we just had broccoli, oh man, wouldn't that be awful?
Boring.
But when you can look out into a field and see all the colors and the textures and the different heights, and man, that's life. That's what it's all about. And I never thought of it before, but empathize with the carrot.
Right?
You know, amen. My first takeaway is that I want to hang out with that guy. You know, Brad had so many profound points. So many lessons that we can learn from a garden. My favorite is that nature loves diversity, and nature is made stronger by diversity, and as Cecily said, so are we. The key is developing empathy, whether it is for a carrot, as Bill wants to do, or for another person. You know, one of the ways that I like to add a little diversity to my day is by checking out my favorite channels on TikTok, including Growing Boulder's new channel, where we not only contribute original content, but we also curate and share clips that reflect our message and our mission. We call it our Bold Social Initiative, and here's our TikTok clip of the day. It's from an 82-year-old great-grandmother named Torchy Swinson, who has about 540,000 followers now. Torchy starts every post with, "I was going to tell you something," and then she drops a truth bomb.
I was going to tell you something. I just realized I've reached the last years of my I'll be so glad when. I wasted so much time on that. I'll be so glad when they're out of diapers. I'll be so glad when they start school. I'll be so glad when they're out of school. I'll be so glad when this, when that, when we can retire. If I could tell you one thing, and I'm not trying to be that old wise woman giving you advice, but if I could tell you one thing, don't postpone joy. Find your joy in what's happening today, because that's where it lies.
Well, welcome back to What's Next. I hope you're following Growing Boulder on all our social media channels. We are everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and of course now TikTok as well. Each week, our social media guru Jess poses a question and she asks for your take. So recently we asked, if you could start any business, what would it be? For Kasha Morris, it would be a dog-friendly vegetarian cafe with a part of the money generated going to animal rescue. Ray Smith thought of a company called Fly Nanny. It would be a safe nanny who accompanies a child in an airplane until the child is turned over in the airport to the designated adult who shows proof of who they are. And Mickey Bailey Harris says, a karma cafe. There'll be no menus, you just get what you deserve. Well, Mickey, I'm not sure I want to go to your cafe, but I like the originality. All right, so here's what I would do. I would like to start a business where I can help people turn their ideas into reality. How many times have you had this brilliant idea, but you don't know what to do with it, and then a couple years later you see your idea on the shelf being sold at Walmart, right? So I would like to have a business where I can help people with those steps to try to figure out how to take their idea and make it become a real thing. I don't know how I would do it, but I think it sounds cool.
I will say that the business that I would have started, someone took it already, because I did it back in the day when I was in college. I literally cut the legs or the feet off of my stockings when they were ruined and created Spanx. Yeah, that one. Sarah, thank you. I did it before you did, girl.
And she's got the $5 billion company, but other than that, any business that brings value to someone's life really does fit perfectly inside what we're already doing. So here's this. Personally, I want to build out a very robust travel component, Growing Boulder Adventures, that incorporates a whole lot of what we've talked about today. Diverse, intergenerational, educational, life-enhancing, purpose-driven, travel experiences. And we'll let you guys know as soon as we do so you can sign up and travel with us. All right, we've been talking about purpose today, which is not only a key to happiness, but also to longevity. In fact, people who wake up with a sense of purpose live on average 7 years longer than those who don't. So how do you find your purpose? Well, purpose begins with believing that you have one. It's a mindset. It's a choice to live a life that matters, because mattering always matters. But here's 4 quick tips. Number 1, you got to be curious. Never stop learning. Number 2, turn your pain into your purpose. Help others deal with what you've been through. Number 3, become part of a diverse community. Expose yourself to different people and different ideas. And of course, number 4, keep watching What's Next. And we'll see you next time.